Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser,
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
and this is City Alpha 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SETI Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast. I'm your host for this week, Daniel Prue, and joining me as always are my fellow Strandees. I think one of you is some sort of an android expert, and one of you will regale us with tales from shenanigans past, but we'll see how it goes. How are you guys doing this week, Darren and Phillip?
Doing good. Happy New Year. It is we've had one more trip around Seoul. And we didn't go back in time, so I guess we weren't going fast enough.
According to my TOS, speaking of time, according to my TOS wall calendar, it is now the month of the city on the edge of forever. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
So wait, in star dates, there aren't any years.
No one can hear you scream.
Right? There's no year. I mean, we translate it to the year.
Yeah.
Depends. Like TOS goes season 1 is 1, season 2 is like, it's 1081 is season 1 and season 2 is 2085, so.
I felt it was, especially in Next Gen, and DS9 did, I think, it really well. Like, the decimal point was more the year. So, like, at the beginning of the year, it was like 0.1, and then, or it was more like the season, but it's basically a year. And by the end, it was more like 0.9.
Right, but a year wouldn't be useful to keep if you were doing a celestial calendar.
Are you going to start talking about fourth
year?
shifts, Daniel?
One of your solar years.
I'm sure they do. They keep it. I'm sure for whatever reason. I don't know.
Well, how else are you going to know when to celebrate like all these holidays we got?
Oh man, I think you could never go to work in Starfleet because every day has to be a holiday, right?
There's one
Somewhere.
day it's specifically the no holiday day. No one's allowed to have a holiday on that day.
Now I'm imagining like it's just like a college dorm, like the junior officer quarters where you have the calendar that lists all the holidays. No.
It's there's always going to be something to celebrate.
It's Bullion Friendship Day.
That's why the HR department in Starfleet is massive.
Wasn't Chakotay the HR department on the Voyager?
That's right. The first officer is in charge of all heritage celebrations.
It's also why we saw Riker helping with Captain Picard Day.
That's right.
So make it
because
so.
we create our and ship holidays. Yes, not only do you have all the cultures, every ship has its own holiday.
So we could have Black Alert Day. We could have Spore Day.
No. That's Black Friday.
Oh, Black Alert Friday.
Yes,
the biggest replicating day of the year.
Save up your credits that don't exist.
All right, so so let's today's going to be a little bit more informal, less structured talk, but we are going to talk
take
about.
Off this tie then.
But what's new?
Go ahead. We're going to talk first about the final short trek which was released. Now, Darren, you haven't seen it, but Phillip and I have, so you can follow along and listen
in your hymnal.
to us.
I mean, I know again the gist that you see in the teasers of it, which I mean, technically a teaser of a short trek is like 3% of the entire episode right there. But I know Mud comes back. I mean, we're not surprised, and I think there's some time travel, but you'll have to let me know.
No.
So no time travel, but the story jumps around a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely the lightest of the short treks. This is definitely the one that's focused as a Mud story, as you might expect. It's focused more on the comedy.
That's why I tune into Discovery. I want my gritty realism Mud.
So I don't know. I'm actually curious to how Phillip took the episode. Is this another Calypso situation?
Calypso's weird. You all are weird.
Where we're divided.
Weird.
Or is this more like Saru, where we kind of come together and agree? Mostly?
No. I agree. It was comedic. Interestingly enough, it was directed by Rainn Wilson, who starred as well. And so I thought that was interesting to learn that. Because he's in 90% of the episode, or the.
I mean, you could say he's in like 400 to 500% of the episode.
Now, are we going to spoil here, or what do we want to do, Daniel?
Yes, well, of course we always spoil. So spoilers if you
Go
really
for
care
it.
about the short trek,
Okay.
it's no big deal.
But it was an interesting setup. You know, the escape artist, of course, is the title, and Harry Mudd is sort of is in that sort of Quark-like begging for his life situation, except he's a little more smoother. Well, not actually that smoother, I suppose. But it is interesting because then you sort of have this thorough line in the main story where he's captured, but then it sort of almost seamlessly cuts the camera to him being in a similar situation of begging for his life when he's caught, you know, by someone else with a bounty. And so I thought it was interesting, you know, going to the director, of course, good camera work of sort of making it, you know, cut that scene. And so it's like, oh, I see, he's done this before. This isn't a new thing. You know, this is typical Harry Mudd existence. And so it was sort of like the day in the life of Harry Mudd, of begging for his life among being captured once again. And so
Mike, I had a question that I thought about this afterwards. So just to give you an idea, Darren, you're watching the episode. Harry Mudd is captured by Bosch. Who's Princess Leia dressed up as?
Bosch.
So it's a character that looks very similar to that, all helmeted and stuff. And Harry
So
Mudd
kind of
is
like a
ready
Breen.
to kind of Breen-esque, yeah. And Harry Mudd's handed over to a Tellarite, and
We see Stellarite.
so the overline here is that he's traveling to not to Discovery, but to the Federation to get the bounty. And we go through various stories of Harry Mudd saying, "Oh, please, you know, I've never been in a situation like this before." Cut to
Is he like breaking the
previous
fourth wall,
situation.
looking right at you, saying, "I've never been in a situation
not
like
that
this before"?
it's not that bad, but it's definitely tongue in cheek, and you get like Phillip said, there's a lot of clever sort of transitions between.
Is the Tellarite Jim? Is that what you're telling me? Jim the Tellarite?
No. But you know, cut to like he'll be like, "Oh, I've never found myself, you know, worsely treated than this," and then he gets, you know, then it cuts to him being abducted by a Klingon and blah 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 blah. So about the structure, Philip, something I didn't think about till after the episode was over.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that those are flashbacks of the actual Harry Mudd?
very good question.
Or do we think
There we
that
go.
those are actually just parallel stories with all of the other Harry Mudds that we see at the end?
Sure.
Of the
So
episode?
yeah, if we have, I don't know, Darren, if we should go ahead and skip to the end. The punchline is it is actually Harry Mudd who is the person dressed up at the beginning, is actually the real Harry Mudd, and he has constructed a race of Harry Mudd androids that he is selling.
Because isn't that what happens in like
with his wives.
Yeah. So
Now, you know, and I'm pretty simple about the way I watch short treks. I sort of assume they take place after season 1, but arguably this episode could have taken place at any time. You know, it could be before, well, probably after he gets captured by the Klingons. But it could be like during TOS. You know what I'm saying? You know, before Imud. You know, so it's like.
Although we know Mudd is
well,
coming back in season 2, so it can't be that far.
Well, no, it could be. I mean, you know, because again, we know future Mudd, quote unquote, which is only 5 years or 6 years from now.
Right.
You know, in the TOS episodes. So, and especially with Mudd being the second Mudd episode of TOS, which is very Android related, it seems, I don't know, a callback. But anyway, or a call forward.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's definitely an homage to the
Because
original.
he's also wearing, one of his Android copies is sort of wearing the costume that he wears in Mudd. So.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's fine.
The sort of little general outfit, or whatever you want to call it.
The Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Mudd.
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. So
yeah, basically they get to him and the Tellarite get to I don't remember the name of the ship.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
It's not a big deal. It is a different looking ship. It's a totally new looking class of ship that we haven't seen before, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the commander or whoever, I guess it's the security officer who meets them in the transport room, is like, "Yeah, I'm not giving you the bounty. This isn't Harry Mudd." And he opens a closet. There's like 10 Harry Mudds in there.
Yes.
He's like, "You guys have been showing up all these guys have been showing up all week," and then that's the end of the episode. And it cuts to Harry Mudd basically trying to cash in on that bounty again with one of his new clones. So, or sorry, not clones.
Perfect
Droids.
androids. To rival Nudie and Singh, but you know.
But it was sort of interesting because you know, even the Harry Mudd episode Magic, in as much as it is a funny episode, of course it's not, because I mean lots of people die in that one. But anyway, this is probably the lightest episode of Discovery, if we're counting this as an episode of Discovery that exists in the Discovery icon. So,
yeah, I'd say so.
In other words, like when we saw the ship, like when they beam aboard the Tellarite and Mud, you just see the Starfleet officer go, another one. Like, which we don't know yet, but his reaction is sort of like, oh boy.
Yeah, I just thought he was sick of Mud. But it was played very well. I actually enjoyed the episode, the short trek.
Yeah,
quite a bit. I think it's probably my second favorite.
Yeah.
If I had to rank them, and
no one cares if it's Calypso.
Calypso's number 1. Yay!
Oh, so weird.
Yeah, that's it. And this is actually the first episode as well that we get of no actual. Well, no, I guess Calypso is too. We didn't get a Discovery character, but yeah.
No. Well, the Discovery.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. If you count the Discovery, then this is the only episode of Short Treks where we don't have any major characters from the show.
Or there's nothing Discovery. It's just Mud, who is not, a crew or whatever. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So I liked it. What do you? I don't know, Daniel. What do you think of sort of the Short Trek concept? Is it just a cherry on top, or what do you think?
It's not as robust as I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I try to avoid being cynical and saying that it's a reason for you to have 4 more months of CBS All Access, which some of us obviously were able to get around. But I hope that I actually just read an article today that they said they're going to continue it.
Right.
There will be more short treks, and I hope they find ways to expand it. This episode in particular was kind of more of what I was expecting or was hoping for, was where it's like not the people that we have already seen for an entire season. You take a character from an episode or something like that, and that's cool, and you explore different things. So this is kind of more like that. That's why I think the Tilly episode to me is the weakest. But I think they're on their way, and they could definitely do. I just think they need to find a good story. This was more of a clever hook at the end,
mm-hmm.
which made the episode worth it. But I actually thought Calypso had an interesting story to tell, and that's why it was my favorite. I think they needed to focus more on like discrete little interesting sort of 15-minute vignettes that you could show, instead of something not that we could see in an episode as a B plot sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think the day in the life is an interesting thing. It's sort of a lower deck, but like a 15-minute lower deck. But day in the life, even if it's a main character or a secondary character. So like I think with Tilly, even though she's nowhere near my favorite, I think by making it kind of a more of a complex story. I mean, it was about her kind of, but it was her through another character that interacting versus her just being on Discovery and being it sort of more of a normal day in the life of Tilly, where you could still have her going through these, command school and her mom and all that stuff. But I think there's, what is it like to be on Discovery when you're not doing this serialized story? And I think Short Treks is a way to sort of take a breath about what it's like to be this character or whatever. And so, yeah.
What would make a good short trek instead of an entire episode of Trek would be, pick a character or two and they go to Risa.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just do that one little hijinks. That way it's self-contained.
Or it's
you don't
just
have to
the
do
party.
else.
It's the next party on the party deck, and that's all we have.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Space
Big
beer
guys.
pong. All right.
Oh,
yeah. Well, hey, that's a great transition, Darren. I think we're good with Mud there. Let's move on to, because next week is Discovery Season 2. And this is the beginning of the deluge, it seems, I think would be safe to say, of new Trek that seems to be coming our way at this point. We're talking 2 to 3 separate shows, talking all sorts of animated
Although
stuff.
those
more
are
short treks.
at least a year away, it feels. But
Yes. Yeah.
And by deluge now, I mean a weekly released, normal formatted show. That's kind of standard. But I know what you mean. We've had another break, and Trek is back in January like they promised this time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wait till it starts playing on my
So yeah, this is our final episode before Season 2, and I thought this would be a good time to talk a little bit of a retrospective on Season 1 of Discovery. We we've kind of went back a little bit and reviewed. We'll talk about how has our feelings changed, and talk a little bit about what our anticipation is for season 2, and see if we are looking forward to anything in particular, or if we're maybe looking through our hands over our eyes. But we'll see. We'll get to there.
Now, Daniel,
So
are you smiling?
Will you take my hand, Daniel?
Oh boy. Okay, so let's start.
I did grow my beard for this episode, just so get ready for season 2.
You always have that beard.
No, she's in the other room. Oh, wait, what do you mean?
No. Anyway, okay, so let's just start, and we'll talk. We talked obviously a lot about season 1 Discovery. I want to talk about anything that's changed, any of our feelings or opinions that's changed. I know Phillip and Darren, we kind of tried to do a little bit of a rewatch. Maybe we didn't make it all the way through, but we've definitely reviewed season 1. Let's talk about how it is now. Not how it was right after we first watched it. Now that it's sunk in, it's part of Star Trek. We've had some time to soak it up. Where are your feelings on the first season of Discovery, Darren, at this point?
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
It's come down a little bit. I think. So here's kind of what happened. I rewatched Measure of a Man, which I'm not trying to compare season 1 of Discovery to one of the best.
No, Discovery,
episodes.
Darren, not. Oh,
I know. But I rewatched it, and I was reading a review on the Measure of a Man, and they had an interesting point. And again, I'm going to talk about the positivity of Measure of a Man, and you'll kind of see the context that I'm meaning. In the Measure of a Man, you have an antagonistic commander, but he's not evil. He has a different point of view. He has a different goal. They go to trial. Riker has to, take the unfavorable position, but he does his duty. But we get great speeches by Riker. We get great speeches by Picard. And in the end, Data isn't vengeful. The JAG officer creates a good ruling. And I'm just...
You mean Philippa?
Yeah, Philippa makes a good ruling. And in the end, Data's like, I'll still be here, so please continue your research. And someone's mind was changed. Okay, all of that, I cannot see if someone had took the script of Measure of a Man and gave it to the Discovery writers and said, here's your story, I feel like it would have to become a yelling match and focusing on, not that there wasn't yelling in a Measure of a Man.
Some F-bombs thrown in there.
I felt like someone would be like,
up.
You know what this needs? This needs more edge, because it's not going to be engaging if it doesn't have edge, because you have really high stakes, but the way it's presented and the way it's packaged is we're in Star Trek, we're in this future where, it's a great example of a disagreement, of a disagreement and rule of law, but it's all handled in the way we would all want it to be handled if it was us. And I'm having difficulty with Discovery, seeming to, they have good characters. There's still a lot of characters I really like. But at the end, I think the fact that it is constructed around a single character as opposed to the ensemble, I think is still taking some getting used to. I'll put it at that. And I rewatched at least the first episode with the Battle of the Binary, or with the Vulcan Hello, and I'm just like, you made a really bad judgment call, and you're a mutineer. And it's really hard for me to look past that now. Like I try to think of other comparisons, like Thomas Riker, I think is another good thing to look at. Okay, you have someone, and I'm thinking more of like the Defiant, episode of Deep Space Nine, where, he pulls off those mystery sideburns. Oh my gosh, it's Thomas Riker. But here was someone with a cause that they were going for, but at the end they didn't cross that line. And I felt because Michael crossed that line, and I just am not liking her character. There's way more exciting, and it wouldn't be so bad if she wasn't the main character that we're all supposed to fall in love with and rally around. I mean,
no, not us, just the Klingons.
Well, it's clear, but but Ash is a more engaging character. Lorca definitely stole the show. Vok is interesting in his abilities. Saru, I mean, we've all said Captain Saru 2019. I mean, that's what we want. Tilly is engaging. Robo Lady is engaging. And I'm like, every other character is actually really interesting. But I'm on second watching and having time to digest it. It's really hard for me to get behind Michael Burnham as this protagonist that I'm supposed to care about. And I feel like, especially with the stuff we're going to get with Spock, and the fact that I don't think they're going to change her from being the main character, in season 2.
I don't know. Season 2 seems to be just about Pike and Spock. I think that we may
I don't
feature
know.
Some Discovery characters.
Maybe it's if it becomes the Spock, Saru, and Pike show, I'm kind of for that. But I guess, because I try to be a positive person, and usually when I watch something for the first time, unless it's god awful, I'm usually gonna look for the enjoyment. And I definitely enjoyed a lot of Discovery because it was new Star Trek and it had been through the drought. And I think just like many people love The Phantom Menace because we hadn't had Star Wars in like 15 years, but then after reflection, it's not the worst Star Wars, but it definitely has a lot of flaws in how it was put together. So
are we going to refer to Enterprise and Discovery as the prequels?
Well, they kind of are technically, but I guess I'll round up by saying, I wish Discovery well. I'm really excited for Picard show. I want a title. It's probably just going to be Picard, but we all know that. But I wish.
Admit it. Even if it had a title, we're still going to call it the Picard
That's true.
Show.
But I think, I want a tone shift. I want more. I'm not saying I want more humor, or party scenes or whatever. I want characters that I can look up to because they're in Starfleet, because they make the right choices, because they, and it's okay to have edge. It's okay. Well,
you don't think that the Federation leadership conspiring to commit genocide on the Klingon planet isn't something to look forward to, Darren?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
And you can have that, but at the end, I want the right person stepping in to make the right call. And, I just, I don't want dystopian Star Trek. And I'm not saying Discovery is dystopian Star Trek. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying...
But somebody did say
that. His name is Phillip. But I mean, does that kind of make sense? Kind of where I'm coming from, like a little less rose-colored glasses, a little more critical of the first season. I'm also kind of just, there's a part of me that's disappointed that, I love sharing Star Trek with my kids. I watched Fistful of Datas with my son the other day because he's in a huge, like, Sheriff Woody cowboy phase right now, like, really big. And I'm like, I want to watch some Star Trek, but he wants to watch something else. How about the episode where they're all wearing cowboy hats? And he loved it.
Spoonful of sugar, kid.
Well,
take your Star Trek.
Like, he starts Worf and Alexander are walking onto the holodeck, and he's like, cat, boots. He recognizes the important things. They didn't.
The Ancient West.
The Ancient West, yeah. And, it was a great episode. It was tons of fun. And I mean, yeah, we all have a soft spot for Next Gen. It's kind of hard to ever, even on that episode. But, so yeah, I guess that's what I'm hoping for with Discovery 2 is, and maybe we'll get that with Pike, and maybe we'll get that in the overall season. And maybe we'll have, I mean, season 1 was definitely trial by fire for them. If you think about it, like they went through massive showrunner shakeups. They had rewrites, delays.
I'm glad that didn't happen in season 2.
Well, it is what it is. So I'll leave you with that. But hopefully, I think that gets my point across.
I wanted to go back to the Measure of a Man thing because I have a couple of thoughts about that. I think if you gave Measure of a Man the script to Alex Kurtzman, who is the current, not just the showrunner for Discovery, but the entire Star Trek franchise,
the Rick Berman of this generation, basically.
Rick Berman, whatever.
He's a worse Rick Berman, basically. And you gave him that, and you said make this a Discovery episode. I feel like the scene where
is Robo Lady real?
No, but I feel like the scene where Riker turns off Data. The Discovery version would have him rip out his arm and slap him in the face with it or something like that.
Sparks
or like
flying.
a Klingon would come by with a batleth and just behead him or something ridiculous like that. But
or they'd have to up it, and it's like it's not just Data, it's like a whole race of androids we discovered, and we have to decide if we're going to enslave them, which shouldn't even be a consideration, but yet here we are.
Darren, there's a war going on.
But
in
they
defense,
could be
in their
they
defense,
could be think about for the war. Think about, every ship could have a Data and they could fight. But doesn't that become
what are you suggesting?
a race?
But in their defense, not really, but in their defense, we didn't get a Measure of a Man quality episode in TNG until season 2.
Right.
Right. And again, I was not
I know
doing a
that's
direct
not your
comparison.
point.
I was more feeling like these are the elements that I loved of this episode because of how it was telling a science fiction Star Trek future story. And I currently don't feel that would have translated. We wouldn't have gotten the same thing even remotely with what the kind of flavor of Trek we're getting now. That was, I guess, my ultimate point.
Well, Discovery, and this is a neutral statement, though I obviously have feelings about it, but Discovery is not an issue episode show. TNG for the most part is an issue episode, and every story is an issue, conflict, of course. Voyager, so DS9's a mix. It's mostly an issue show, but it's also mostly its own serialized story. And then that's Discovery. It's its own serialized story. There's no, there's not an episode about like climate change or an episode about, you can broadly argue that
what to do when you get stuck in a mirror universe.
Well, that the whole Klingon movement, sort of cultural purity,
you can definitely see reflections in modern times.
There's
like there are themes,
certainly.
yeah.
But
I know what you're saying. It is, we're gonna tell this, 15 episode story, and you're just kind of like, I don't really. That was why the rewatch was kind of hard because, like, you can't really be like, oh, you know what? I want to watch Into the Forest I Go. Like, I don't feel like that ever.
Like, I think Magic is the only. Well, and this is my opinion, of course. The way we talk is, even though we can be negative or positive, but like
the mud episode,
listeners, everyone can think what they want. We're not one of the people who impress our opinions, but anyway. But I think Magic to me is the only standalone episode where you can be like, you know what, I just want to watch Magic, and it works. But I think any other episode, you're sort of like,
but like even like you were just mentioning, like they did this long form storytelling, and they took the 15 episodes to tell this story. But what is this story? Like, what is the point of this story?
There's Klingons, there's Mirror, and at the end it's Mirror Klingons, or Klingons with mirrors. And
then at the end it just wraps itself up like in 10 minutes, and then it's like...
And then the Enterprise shows up. Ta-da!
Well, like, I don't even know why they told this story. This story has no... it feels like
but
it has
this
no
story
meaning
is
or
not
substance.
the story that Brian Fuller was trying to tell. I'm pretty
No,
sure
I understand.
Can make that statement.
Well, watching it, this is my thought. I'm sure it's not original. A criticism of older Trek, I don't know how to legacy Trek. I don't know what we call old Trek, but anyway, TOS, but even TNG and even Voyager is that story trumped characters, and so certain characters do not get as much development as you wish. But I think in Discovery, characters trump story.
And I'm not saying I don't like Discovery because it's different. I mean, because and I get that, but it's but like Daniel says, you're left with an end product, and
Yeah,
are
but
you
I
going
think,
to
like,
pick and
so
choose
if-
watching something, or are you going to have to sit and binge? I don't ever really feel like binging all 15 episodes of
episodes.
Discovery.
But this is by far, if that's the case, if that was their goal, this is by far the weakest cast of characters that we've ever had in Star Trek, I would argue.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, hands down.
There's
like,
no
this is- if
doctor,
they're-
there's no data that like rose above where you're like, I want to know more about this person.
Well, the trouble was, and look, I'm not a Tilly fan. I know, but I know people like Tilly, right? So they've engaged with Tilly. I actually did appreciate Sue a little bit more than maybe I did the first time. I mean, I'm not all Captain Sue like you guys, but he's fine. He's an interesting.
I mean,
alien
I've also
character that
felt
should-
he's been fleshed out a lot more in the books that I've enjoyed
if
as
you
well.
will. I just saw him be a soup. But again, to me, as I've said, and as many people, Lorca, for better or for worse, and it's really for worse, is my most interesting character. And I'm like,
That's true.
Why
He
do I
is.
like him? But I shouldn't.
That's
but
not,
I do.
It's not even for worse. Lorca was the most interesting character by far on that show. Like there's nobody even comes like I love Saru, I love Tilly.
Yeah.
And they're literally second and third. There's nobody even in fourth.
Yeah.
There's just that's it. That's
Stamets
who's
is growing on me. I'll admit.
I do like Stamets, I guess. But he's whatever.
He's growing
My-
like a
my
fungus.
My point is that Lorca was so anti what we would expect a captain to be that he was fascinating to watch.
But he was
And
on
we were
the
like-
right side of that edge. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you could,
Yeah.
he would make questionable choices, and you're like, yeah, but in the situation, I could see like Kirk or someone making the same call. I mean, not certain choices such as destroying the Baran and transporting to the very universe, but you know what I mean. Like if he wasn't Mirror Lorca, I wouldn't have been surprised. Like I could see him fitting in the Star Trek universe.
There had to be some explanation to him because he was quite not fitting. But like, what is it? I want to know what it is. And then it's like, oh, and even
But then they gave him the easiest cookie cutterist like explanation, like the least satisfying and least interesting sort of explanation. Like maybe the Baran situation just totally broke him and he just went crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can make it a really
or
fascinating
he is
story.
Prime Lorca, but his mind has been warped with Mirror Lorca, because remember we saw Stamets see his like mirror reflection that didn't walk away.
Yeah.
Like something was going on.
Well, yeah, he met his copy in the I can't even say that word, in the network.
Yeah.
In the Mushroom Network.
The
So-
mycelial
so
network.
There you go.
That's another thing. Like, why? What's the point of that entire thing? Okay, actually, real quick, because I just remembered this, and this was something that bothered a lot of people at the time, and I remember when we were promised satisfaction to this of why they killed Culver.
Yeah.
Culper?
Yes, yeah.
Culver?
Dr.
Hugh-
Culver.
Nothing.
Sexy doctor.
Well,
Yeah,
supposedly
she
he's
does. Well,
in season 2 somehow.
That blows
he?
my mind. Well, I mean, I
don't
enjoyed
know.
him and I enjoyed them as a couple, but like you killed him.
Yeah.
So either
You
don't
straight-
kill
yeah,
him.
Yeah. It's like
or-
comic books. No one's actually ever dead.
But
And his death didn't provide anything.
No.
It was.
And again,
It didn't even
if
do
you
anything.
took this whole series and stuck it in like the year 3000, up the technology a tiny bit, and it's like this new war between the Federation and the Klingons, it's a lot better.
You don't even need to up the technology. They already invented a brand new technology we've never heard of.
That's true. Well,
Well,
and that's why you're never worrying about like, where did because how many times were we thinking, but why is Spore Drive not everywhere? Like, and I think one other thing I'll say is I think you had a good point with Lorca. Most engaging character, most interesting character, but also the biggest one with a mystery. Now that mystery is gone, so
and the character's gone.
well, but besides the character being gone, I'm just again thinking of rewatchability. Okay, you're rewatching this series.
I still liked him the second time.
I mean, I'm not.
like,
yeah,
oh, man,
no. I'm not
that
saying
guy
it's,
is
it's gone.
That guy's so intriguing.
But
I didn't even care what's coming.
there's
you
the
know?
fact that and you can't recapture that specific mystery again.
Mhm.
Yeah, it really is. I was watching it too, and those first few episodes, and the episode where he Admiral Cornwall comes to visit, and he kind of freaks out when they're in bed together, and it's like, does this guy just have PTSD? Did the war
Right.
just mess him up?
Mhm.
And it's like I remember being so interested in Lorca, and like I wanted him to be a good guy. I was actually rooting for him to be like, like maybe sacrifice himself or ultimately do the right thing, but maybe just be complicated. And that's fine. That's a cool new way on the on the captain.
Yeah, have a captain who's got PTSD and like is totally like even take the whole mirror part out. And
yeah, that's
and
what
he,
I'm,
and
yes, do that.
And he
please.
kills he kills his whole crew because he doesn't want them to be captured by Klingons, and later he's captured by Klingons, and all this crazy stuff is going on. That's a really interesting character.
Think of it. That's the exact
Redemption.
same, almost the exact same character arc that the guy from the Disappearing Defiant episode. In
gosh,
TOS.
I know exactly when. It's not the M5 computer one, is it?
No, it's not the Defiant
no.
one. I know what you're talking
Doomsday
about. You're
device.
talking about the
That's a Doomsday device. Yeah, right. It's a Doomsday device.
Matt Decker.
Yeah,
Decker.
Matt
Commodore Decker.
It's the exact same. It's almost the same, except instead of being crazy right away, he just had like lasting damage, and like didn't know how to handle the situation. But he didn't turn evil or anything right away.
But it also made sense that he was still a captain because, again, there's a war on. In a war situation, the Discovery was valuable. If we hadn't have a war, there's no way he would have been sitting in that chair until he had recouped.
Yeah.
He was a wartime consigliere. Yeah. Also, I did, and this is a nitpick, whatever, right? Watching it the second time, I'm like, wait, Admiral Cornwall's like this high-ranking admiral, and she's a psychologist? I mean, like, that was a weird track, right? So counselor, psychologist, and then command of the entire fleet. I was like, those blue shirts, man, they can.
Well, they're technically
their
all
way up
blue
to the-
shirts, so.
Anybody can take the command track, Phillip.
I guess.
Don't
She killed.
Don't
she must have
discriminate
killed Geordi.
against blue shirts, okay?
She did her kill
Jeez.
Geordi.
Look, we
and got her
intimately
admiral.
saw how uniforms were made, so we know anyone can change tracks at any time.
She could be head of Starfleet psychology or something like that.
And yet she,
Or the fleet.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I just I didn't even think about it the first time. So I'm like, wait a minute, why is there...
Or even like I like the episodes where in the Mirror Universe we were interacting with Voq, and I mean Voq's a really interesting character too. But if he had stayed Voq, a Klingon with an interesting path.
I still have this dumb question, and I know you've answered it, but I'll ask it again. Just because in the episode where Tyler fights Voq, so is he the same? Like, does he play Voq?
Oh,
yeah, that's the same guy.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like, they must have really good doubles.
I would guess for that fight, a stuntman would be Voq because it's easier to hide the actor in as the human Tyler than to have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd also be interested in just, and this is just dumb, but like how they do the voice. Like, is that? And I don't know that.
Well,
I
that's
forget
just
the
you
character's
just
name.
dub it. That's easy.
But that's what I'm saying. But like, is that a natural voice, or do they do some sort of electronic?
I'm sure there's like modulation going on. Yeah, because it's much lower. It registers much lower than.
I mean, I don't know if they would necessarily have to scrub it. I mean, people can project their voices up and down.
If you ever see him at a convention, like,
but I think
can
it would
he talk
be.
Klingon?
My guess is if he's playing Voq, he always played Voq and he always did the voice. Because I can't see.
No, I think he does the voice. I just think they just pitch it down a little bit.
On the I don't own Discovery stuff, but anyway, but like on the Blu-ray, do they list him in the credits, like on the anywhere?
Oh, I don't know.
Vogue?
I didn't buy the Blu-ray.
So, wait a minute, Darren, Mr. Star Trek fan who just bought a box set of Columbo.
Who buys hard media?
But
no, I'm just saying I don't want to buy a Blu. I'm not saying it's about Blu-ray. I'm saying it's about Discovery that I don't want to buy.
I know that they actually created a fake actor for the Voq character.
Right.
Like they created a whole IMDb for that actor as well. So
it's
that's how far they wanted to go.
It's Khan all over again. What was it? What was his name they put on IMDb for him?
Oh, John Harrison.
John Harrison. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But that's also, and again, I stopped rewatching it past his prologue just because, it wasn't like I'm done with this just because we ran out of time. But I still don't understand L'Rell killing Voq. I guess that.
Oh, you mean killing the Voq
explanation
inside him?
Yes, and I guess the argument is supposed to be, at least Ash would live, who is at least her or something, a remnant of him will, because they both can't survive. But I just thought
it's terrible writing. Is what that is.
But she has hair next season, guys. So there's that. We're not talking about that.
Terrible wording. They also said that in season 2 they're trying to make the Discovery Klingons more like the original TOS Klingons. Which question mark? How the heck can you do that? Question mark.
Don't do that.
Or just go straight TNG.
Yeah.
But even if you do that,
or how many times did we say in the very beginning when they're showing all the houses together, have some look like TOS Klingons, have some look like TNG Klingons, have some look like the motion picture Klingons, and have some look like Discovery Klingons? Problem solved.
That's right.
It's really not that hard.
No, I have to admit that watching it, as much as I'm, criticizing, I feel like, nothing against the actors or anything like that, if they had dropped, not the Klingon storyline, but dropped the focus on the Klingons and we focused more on Discovery and the characters, I think that would have been, we would have gotten maybe more of it. Cause,
it's like focusing on the Kazon in the beginning of Voyager, but you don't care about the Kazon. You want to focus on Voyager.
We don't get like 30-minute Kazon scenes,
Right.
In Kazonian.
Yes.
Only the pure Kazonian.
So it is again. Yeah, I agree. It's like, what is the purpose of this?
Well,
if you were
and again,
I think the original
I thought
idea
Takuma was a really interesting character.
For the 10 minutes,
and then stab.
But yeah,
that's what happens, Darren. And Discovery, if you're too interesting,
you die.
Stab.
Well, yeah, because you have Vok, Takuma.
Well,
Lorca.
Well, I don't know if you want to say Vok's dead, but go ahead. I'll allow it.
Well, but I mean Klingon Vok.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, those are...
Which, by the way, is my favorite Klingon magazine.
So...
Well, Jojo is the gift that keeps on giving.
I mean Federation Jojo.
Is she? Yes.
She does keep coming back. She's going to be in season 2.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I know. Section 31. That's why I come to watch Star Trek, everyone. Everyone knows that.
Honestly, just keep Federation Jojo and then keep Mira Lorca. I would be way more interested in that.
Oh, man. The ship is still ugly. Sorry. That's not going to change.
I should say I did get used to Discovery. I mean, I got used to it. Not the internal. I like how every Star Trek iteration, the bridge gets infinitesimally bigger.
It's huge.
Doesn't matter.
It's massive.
What timeline? Yeah, except Enterprise. I'll say Enterprise it did contract in Enterprise. It was more the sardine can submarine.
And I mean, I'm not surprised that they went with the glass viewplate. Like that actually makes sense. Like that's a nice design. I'm not
except like the con and ops, who I assume those are the front stations because we don't know anything because they don't label anything. But like there's no secret...
and they don't spend enough time there.
Yeah, and there's no secret talking. Like you can't be buds with your next door neighbor.
Although they do nod at each other, I'm pretty sure, because you have
from like across the room.
You have Mohawk and Robo-Eye.
Yeah, they're in the back, way in the back.
I know they have names, but we don't spend time with them, so I can't learn them.
Yeah.
Do we think that, okay, so do we think, how much time do you think we're going to spend on the Enterprise in season 2?
I don't think a lot. I think all
on a show called Discovery, I don't know.
I think
it's there.
It'll be all first episode.
The captain.
Or unless they're going to do like a parallel construction where it's like the first 2 episodes, it's sort of a second attempt pilot or whatever. That's where you get all your number 1, Captain Pike, changes his uniform, all that. But after that, I think it's going to be...
Although I'm sad he changed his uniform because honestly, the uniforms on the Enterprise look awesome.
That pops, man. Oh, it's gonna be so dull when he goes to the Discovery uniform. But anyway.
Well, maybe it might be like a thing where he goes on board and introduces the uniform, and then they adopt it afterwards.
So you're saying at the end of season 2, Discovery will be wearing TOS clothes?
Yeah. I would.
I mean, they've said that was their ultimate plan, was to slowly shift. We just are super impatient and can't wait.
I mean, whatever. Yeah. Hang on, we'll do season 2 predictions after.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I'll say with Michael, it's not that I don't like Michael, but I'll admit, like every time she talks, it's super important, and what's going on here is very dramatic, and there is so much weight going on in what I'm saying and doing, and I'm like, I get it, but like, oh man, the whole time though, like, can we not for 15 episodes have? Oh.
Like the weight of the world's on her shoulder from episode 1.
But I guess I get it. That's
it kind of is, but
But that's a tonal thing, like you said, Darren. I mean, that's let me breathe. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is it's a personal thing. Maybe I don't watch Game of Thrones. Nothing against it, but it's just not my thing. I'm not a fantasy, whatever you call that universe.
Yeah.
I like a little bit more lighter, a little bit more whatever. Not even lighter, but like, a different one. And I think this is just so much more like Lord of the Rings, the Great War, the big things. And I'm like, oh man, geez, a lot going on.
But here's the thing: Star Trek has done that well before. I mean, if you look at Deep Space Nine, it still, it had that serious war aspect to
and then
it,
they would
but
have
also,
those random episodes where they just did something else for an episode
where all the Ferengis cross-dressed. Yeah,
exactly.
Where are the cross-dressing
That's true.
Ferengis? on
DS9
Discovery?
handled a war seasons, but without it being all about the war every single episode. Weight of the Federation.
It was a lot of build up to the war, like
Yeah.
even though it seems like
which
but,
gives
like,
you
4 and
payoff
5
because you already know these characters.
Yeah.
Surprise,
Oh.
surprise.
Yeah, I think, man, I it's really difficult for me to pin down what the number one problem is, because to me, setting it as a prequel is a huge problem. The characters are massively underdeveloped. The tone, which we talked about, is just so off base of what, not just what we're expecting or what we want, but kind of what Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to
Has
be the
been.
person that says that stuff, but like I will say this, if it wasn't Star Trek, I would look at this series differently. 100%.
Yeah, but they have to know that when they're writing and making the show. Like they're calling it a Star Trek show, so they have to kind of do it in a certain way.
Yeah. And whatever, it's called Star Trek Discovery. It's Star Trek. I'm not going to be one of those people that says it's not Star Trek, but I'm saying it's very different.
And I get, that television and storytelling has changed. I am not, like, granted, everyone, it's been, let's see, okay, it's been 46 minutes. We can talk about the Orville now. But but no, like, I think Orville has done a good job of being like 90s Trek, but it's not like I'm popping in an episode of TNG. It is actually, it's still
heavier. It's a little heavier.
Yeah, it's heavier. It's got more long form stories. The characters have more flaws. But I think it strikes the balance we were expecting out of a Star Trek show. It's that balance that we've wanted. That's really at the heart of the show.
And I won't go into it. I'll just say for season 2, Orville, the first 2 episodes, I've been very impressed. I think they've learned some lessons. I think it's only 2 episodes, but they've there's still the Seth stuff in there, but they've sort of like it's more of a sprinkle than a thud. And so, I've really enjoyed it. And they really seem like movies. Like instead of, I'm like, has this been on for 2 hours? No, it's really just a 45-minute show. Oh wow! So I've enjoyed it. But anyway, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, we won't get into that because
We're gonna
That's
be
a
those
whole
people.
If we don't
separate
speak about it now, we got 15 weeks booked.
Discovery's not Star Trek.
in the next-
Orville's better. Woo!
No,
Baba
no,
booey, baba
I'm
booey.
just meaning
All
we
right,
got the next
we've all
15 weeks booked on our calendar, so when are we going to talk about it?
All right, so before we move on to Discovery Season 2, I do, and there are frustrations. We're just Star Trek fans that are telling you.
Should
our
we just say
opinions.
positive things for the next 5 minutes?
That's
Okay.
no. I want to. I do. I want to say like there is good stuff about Discovery,
Mhm.
and I think we should just mention it real quick before we move on. So, what are your favorite aspects of Discovery? What do you think that they did right? That they nailed on the head? Is there anything like any moment or character or arc?
I agree with Phillip. I think the Mud episode was really well done overall. I think Spore Drive is a cool thing if you take it out of the context of like, the fact that we were having to think so much about why is this not a thing. I think if you'd remove that and it's just this other technology, that was really unique and interesting. I like the culture we're getting from the Klingons. That's actually kind of like a deeper sense, besides just the, that's all, it's all about honor and all about this. It's like, these are Klingons that have yet to become, I mean, they kind of hinted at it, but it's basically like, it's not the Klingon Empire. It's these factions of houses warring over the space, which is really interesting. I'll start there.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the characters. Well, not all of them, but some. But I mean, like I said, the subtle things, maybe. Stamets and Culber, of course, I've always been a fan of. Because it's a very interesting relationship because because I think you almost don't. Well, I think we knew before we saw it, But if you didn't know that they were together, you wouldn't think they were together, because like the first episode they're in, like they're just like sniping at each other or whatever, and then you're like, oh no, they're a couple, but they're so different as a couple, and it's an interesting thing that you don't often see in TV is the sort of this, Stamets character, and you're like, why would anyone be with him? But it works for them.
I forget about Stamets. I like him a lot.
Yeah, and again, he was very ingratiating at first. But then, you get it. He's sort of the absent-minded professor, but not in a friendly way, in a sort of hard-ass way. But then also, again, he's been sort of, conscripted by Lorca. And so, you can get where he's coming from. And, he's already has that personality, so this doesn't help. But then you see the sort of things, when Lorca's pressing his buttons about, we can discover so much more, and all these new parallel universes and everything. That's really, he is an explorer. He's a scientist. He just doesn't like people. And Tyler, I like 85% like it. And I'll be interesting to see what his story is in season 2. I mean, again, I know we're not going there yet, but anyway, so it is kind of, I don't know. In some ways, it would have been more interesting to have him as a PTSD instead of, which I guess it is a kind of that when you just, but your personality changes, but just no, he's just Spock and body changed, and that's why he's messed up. Other than maybe the more interesting and complex PTSD storyline, which could have been there. But I did like a lot of the characters that they did have in there. So it is certainly something to play with. Like if you're like, oh, if you could get rid of one Discovery character, I don't know that I necessarily would. Again, they're not all my favorite. Tilly's not my favorite, but I mean, I don't actively hate her when she comes on screen or anything.
You could get rid of the CMO.
Oh yeah, that girl.
That jerk face. I do like most of the characters that we get to know, other than Michael, who to me is just so.
See, like, I get. I'm sorry. I mean, okay, if you allow me for a moment. I don't get the mutiny. Again, I know this is the whole concept. I don't get the mutiny and the start of the war, which is the whole concept and core of the story of season 1, that she's a mutineer and she caused a war. I'm like, neither of those things do I see. I mean, no, I get it. She disobeyed her captain, but like, I guess that's technically mutiny, but it's not like it was bad mutiny. I don't know. Is that just me?
It was. I mean, she shot her captain.
Well, no, she Vulcan
pinched.
Oh, Vulcan pinched her. That's right. Sorry, I thought she.
Which for a Vulcan crew, that's like shooting your captain. So.
Yeah, and then she's sort of like, "No, guys, fire torpedoes. Doesn't matter what the captain is. But just press it. No more questions. No more questions." So it was like stupid mutiny.
It was a sloppy mutiny.
Sloppy, but then also starting the war. I don't get how she started the war. She killed the torchbearer and it made the Klingons angry. I mean, the Klingons were going to be angry no matter what happened.
Yeah, she didn't technically. I mean, you could see how others could see her as the war starter.
I guess.
Like if you didn't know the context, if you weren't on that ship, and you heard that Michael Burnham went to the other ship, killed a Klingon, came back, disabled her captain, and then tried to fire on the other ship, you could absolutely see how you would blame her for hostility.
So people are very understanding to the Klingons. They're like, well, I can see why they feel that way.
No, I mean, what do you mean? Like,
well, then why is there their point then?
I agree. It's poorly written. It's terribly.
But that's the core. Everyone who meets, the mutineer. Oh, you're the mutineer. Oh man, Michael Burnham, you're responsible for every death that ever happened.
And that's the thing. Everyone's super like angry at her, and it's like that's also. I feel like. I mean, again, let's throw in some episodes like The Wounded, dealing with war and dealing with like how you feel about what you have to do in that war. I don't think we really get any of that,
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's never an examination. It's always surface level. It's always the easiest path or the stupidest twist. It's never like thoughtful. It's always easy. And that's, to me, that's the problem with Discovery. I want Star Trek to make me think about how I feel about this, or why do I think this way, or what would you do in this situation? Whereas Discovery, it's always like, just shoot the bad guys.
Because I think there are a lot of war stories that have yet to be told. Because, and again, speaking as someone who was in a war, it's all very black and white in a lot of storytelling. Oh, everyone has PTSD, or but there's like very subtle things about whether the enemy, or when you're making a decision to shoot or not shoot, or following orders, or especially all these Discovery people who are not necessarily naturally soldiers. A discussion with some of them, what is it like that you're now a soldier instead of a whatever you did on Discovery with its a million science labs beforehand,
Look, they can handle 300 science projects. Although I balked at that number because I'm like, so wait, you have to all hope we're all going in the same direction? Because, it's like, are there 300 things we could even do in this system?
20 of those are control groups, 30 are placebos.
Okay, it all makes sense now.
And then in the Mirror universe, which, again, not my favorite. It's like Section 31 up there at this point. But anyway, it would have been then interesting to me, or maybe me alone, to question more about why are the Terrans like this? I mean, look into the history. Like, Michael was going through it and like, oh, this is when it was like us, and then this event is not like us.
This is where they made bad choices, and it veered this way, and then it self-reinforced because of this. What?
It's because Edith Keeler got hit by a car.
Well, yeah. And again, like, I really like movies and television where there's smart villains. I love smart villains because they're so engaging, and they're actually a foil, for our protagonist. And I felt like because there was so much mystery, and I know we're trying to be positive, but like, I felt because there was so much mystery around Lorca and so much mystery around Vok Tyler that robbed us of having, a really and like, what's Vok's plans and what's Lorca's plans. Like, we're not even told any of that, and we're the audience, and so it's hard to enjoy it when we're not let in on anything in this mystery box.
And the hard part is that we both knew both of those within 3 episodes. And we're like, we really think Lorca might be Mary, and we really think Tyler might be Vok. And they're like, no, we're going to wait another 10 episodes before we confirm what you've already known.
None of those storylines pay off.
Right.
Ever. It's not like they go with the most obvious twist possible every time. And then they like try to tease us and, ooh, who's Lorca? Like, what's the least interesting way you can make him kind of evil? Well, let's just make him cartoonishly evil and turn him into Mirror Lorca. Yeah. Well, okay, then you've just robbed that character of anything that made him interesting.
Or have him like literally freaking out in his quarters where he's like smashing things and like, but do it in a way where you honestly aren't sure if he's Mirror or if he's just totally broken from the war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it
make
exactly.
2 options,
right,
and not just clearly one. Well, but and then even with the Vok one, I still don't get how the plan was going to work because it didn't.
No.
I mean, I get that there was a problem with the reintegration or the whatever.
The trigger.
Fine. Yeah, and that's fine. That's
Manchurian
fine.
candidate Vok.
But the whole, at no point did I see him like secretly disappearing and downloading schematics for no apparent reason, or you know what I'm saying? Like, what was the plan again? Because it didn't seem to.
Maybe the first season, the first half of the season, writers wrote that plan, and then they weren't around for the second half of the season.
They will not have this excuse next season. So, and honestly, I'll be honest with you, the previews for the next season.
Well, I've read a little bit about Discovery season 2, and I mean, there are the previews. I have read in development that they are saying they're not doing an anthology, and we know that, but they are also. Like, I'm actually expecting a good chunk of time to have passed between these two. Well, actually, no, the Enterprise just showed up, so never mind. But, but that they have said it's not continuing the war, but the war will have effects on things that happen. They have their unifying, which I think is that Red Angel thing.
Which, I mean, how do we it's like a supervillain? Like, what is this?
I mean, well, we had the Sphere Builders in Enterprise.
Is that? Or I don't know.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah. So I guess I think they're gonna distance themselves from the first season in some ways. I don't know. It's really hard to tell what we're gonna get.
I would
But
like
I
for them
agree
to
with you
breathe.
though, Daniel. I think we're gonna be a lot more critical.
Yeah.
Do we think that so things that I'm looking forward to in season 2?
Mhm.
Pike.
Yeah.
I think Pike's cool. I think Pike can be great.
But
I
he's
think
gonna
that'll be a lot
leave.
of
Just
fun.
I'm gonna let you know now, Daniel. He's gonna leave
He's fine if
eventually.
he leaves. But do we think he's gonna be? Do we think he's gonna be a season arc Pike, or do we think he's gonna be like
Half a
just a
season.
few episode Pike?
I think he's gonna be a season-long Pike because
I think it's probably gonna be a season.
Oh yeah, no, I don't see him leaving until the end. So maybe they just get a new captain every season, and it's like
I kind of love that.
we've
idea.
already loved the defense against the dark arts metaphor. Yeah. And Saru is Snape in this because he always wants that job, but he's not chosen.
He can never get.
He's gonna get it. What, fourth season? Is that how it works, Daniel? When is he gonna finally get it?
Yeah. I do really.
now I
like
just want to
Pike.
hear Michael or Lorca being like, "Well, let's just hope Michael Burnham is always here to save the day."
Saru has a sock.
Saru has okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't top that. So that's good.
But I just hate that we're so excited about something that's not the characters that are already there. Because it's all the promos are just Pike and Spock. Pike and Spock.
There's another new
It's like-
character. There's Jet Reno, played by a comedian Tig Notaro.
Yes, I can't remember her name. But yes,
Oh yeah, she's a. big
So I'm not
fan, I
sure
think.
what her role is. She's reoccurring, so she's not.
comedic relief.
She's not noticeable. Well, yeah, I know that. She's not
No,
noticeable.
but I'm being serious. I mean,
guest, but-
as much as we talked about how heavy season one was, she's probably going to be the Tignataro. I think that's how you say
so
it.
she's gonna be the new bunkmate of Tilly, and it's just gonna be like the crazy room.
Oh gosh, yeah, something like that.
And I see Wilson Cruz is listed as Hugh Colbert, apparently not a doctor
Oh,
anymore,
boy.
or
Dead
alive.
doctor.
Wait, he is listed in season 2 credits.
Again, I don't.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at Wikipedia, so don't go
Okay.
off of that. But
Oh, okay.
I
I don't think. I mean, maybe he'll show up. I hope. He does.
wasn't he in one of
He's
those
going to.
posters, the looking up posters?
Yes, because it was Stamets and him.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Was he like Ghost
Yeah.
Culber behind him or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that they have to, but they know that they have to do an arc, and so the whole Red Angel thing. But I'm like, again, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's like an Avengers movie. It has to be this big. Can't it just be them doing stuff every episode? Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
yeah. No.
Sorry, I know no one that wants to do episodic anymore. It's just me and Chris Chibnall running Doctor Who. But
I know. I like a good balance.
yeah.
I like season-long arcs with discrete stories you can tell in between within the context. I
I think we
like
just wanted a
both of those-
better season-long arc in season one. That's, I mean, like we've all said, television's changed. We like season-long arcs, but we also want good season-long arcs.
Yeah, because they had
Yeah.
half a season
And then-
arc, another half a season arc in the last 2 episodes. They combined them all together. It's the Klingons with a Mary Georgia. No. We did it, guys. So it's like maybe have just one arc, and you just kind of touch it every now and then. You don't have to touch it all the time, and then you do an episode, and then you touch it again, and I don't know.
I do like the look of the spacesuits that pull homage from the really, really bad TOS spacesuits, but they do in such a way where it's like, okay, like I see it, they got the pieces in different places.
Yeah.
But how are you feel about
I don't
the
know
first
why-
episode, Daniel, with its title?
Brother.
What's it called?
Brother.
What are they talking about?
Spock.
Brother?
You
Oh, Spock.
I was gonna say.
Sorry. Okay, so the aspect of season 2 I'm least looking forward to, not Spock himself, but the brother sister relationship of Spock and
Derek's
Michael.
going to be
I
there
don't know.
too, probably.
Look, they'll just Contra conference in for like a nice family meeting.
I'm so of two minds about this because
Yeah.
I brought this up several times last season, and I said if you're going to do this era and you're going to show the Enterprise or whatever, you have to commit and you have to show Spock. And now we have Spock, and I'm actually zero percent interested in actually seeing Spock. I'm more interested in.
He's like
seeing
on
Pike than
vacation Spock.
Yeah, because he's
Vacation
whatever,
beard.
he's board short Spock. He's got his scruffy beard, and so he's just grinning from ear to ear. I don't know, what are they going to do with Spock? What are they going to do? I don't
Well,
trust
Spock's
these
not there
writers.
for Spock.
It all comes
Just
out.
don't-
But Spock's
I
not
don't
there for
trust
Spock. Spock's there for the Michael Burnham character.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. She's not interesting. So what?
Well, and I think it will be. I'm interested just from a military echelon aspect that she's now science officer, commander, science officer.
Yeah, I also was really not on
So
board
she-
the whole like all of a sudden you're no longer in jail and you basically have a rank back and all like that seemed way.
because she's kind of still demoted in a way because she was first officer, now she's science officer, which is kind of a demotion.
But,
but does
remember,
that-
at this time, Spock was the science officer and he was the first officer.
Well,
No, he wasn't the first officer at this point.
No, but I'm talking about
Because-
like in Kirk's
I mean,
time, he was
yeah.
the science officer.
Well, in Kirk's time.
and-
so but if we have Pike and then Saru's going to be back to being first officer, so now she's going to take over Robo Lady's job, or
So
But wait,
basically,
number one
Saru
is-
and Burnham flipped positions, basically.
yes. So she's
But number one is also in the show.
yeah, but she'll be.
I don't
commanding
think
the
she's ever.
Enterprise
Yeah, I
when
don't think
Pike
she's
leaves.
ever gonna be.
You think she'll just
stationed
be
on the.
She'll be.
Enterprise.
All right.
Maybe she's from the mirror universe.
No, God,
Oh.
please don't do that. Please
Negative
don't
one.
do that.
-1.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Look, okay,
Uh.
let's do closing thoughts because this has been here for a while. We get frustrated. We love Star Trek, and I think I could speak for us all when I say we love Star Trek. But we do want Discovery to be successful. We want
do.
it to be great. I don't want any Star Trek to be bad. And I think there are elements here in Discovery that you can build an awesome show with. And, we're not there yet, but maybe we can be. Learn the lessons from season 1. Make season 2 interesting. Use these new elements that you're introducing. Whatever it takes, shake up the formula. I'm hoping that season 2 is a great improvement. I'll say that. What about you guys? Are you looking forward to it? What do you think?
I don't know if I'm well, yeah.
I mean,
don't
at the
know.
end, I'm looking forward to discussing it every week with you guys for there being like, an overall story. Like I did like the fact that it was new Trek and we were discussing about what's going to happen next week. Like that's fun because the majority of
How are
our
they gonna
previously
mess this up?
podcasting experience has been reflecting on 30-year-old shows where there's been, I mean, so that was nice that was different. So, I am looking forward to that. And I haven't written the show off. I'm not saying that.
Oh no.
I just, this was its season 1, and I think that states itself.
That says enough when it's a Star
Yeah.
Trek series.
And I'm saving number -1 as a possible future episode title for when she has an episode.
You just have to flip her photo. Remember, so it's
Okay, can I? Okay, I'll let you guys finish, and then I have one thing I want to do at the end.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was just gonna say I hope it's a more thoughtful show instead of a more melodramatic show. You can have both. But I think you want to ask the questions and like for instance, I think in Short Trek, okay, with the Saru episode, it's not saying it's the biggest thing in the world, but the whole looking in the sky, wanting more, that's thoughtful, Yeah. And so it's just a small seedling. You just put that in the rest of the season. So
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, Darren, you got something for us before we wrap up?
Yeah, so obviously next episode you hear after this, we will be covering Star Trek Discovery Season 2, and we are looking forward to having some more guests on like we did with Discovery Season 1. We'll be bringing people from the network.
Mycelial Network,
exactly. But I wanted us to vote on our favorite SETI Alpha 3 episode title from our Discovery 1 season, because there's some gems in there. Okay, so we have Robot Face. This was in the very beginning where we didn't know anything that was going on.
Oh, which by the way, in the Mud Short Trek, that ship, whatever it was,
Right.
had a robot face.
Oh,
It did. Oh, I forgot about that. You're right.
We thought that was going to
Yes,
be way
yes, it
more
did.
important, and we rarely ever see robot face. No, remember, this was the bucket head, not Robo Lady.
No.
Right.
This is the bucket head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
This is vertical Alpha 5.
Yes. Then we have Dread Pirate Lorca. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
That's good. Don't Fear the Ripper. That was after we learned about our favorite tardigrade. Stammet Jim. I'm a tardigrade, not a navigator. It's a long one, but
it's a good one.
the Vulcan made
Stammet
and
Jim
see,
is
you
a
can
great...
picture the episodes, which is what's fun about this. The Vulcan Matrix. That was when Michael was flying through her Katra long distance call. Spore Drive.
Oh, that's when we get more mushrooms, right?
Yeah. Captain Tilly, which I think that was where it was like literally the last thing they said in the episode.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which, Death Closet. So don't go in the Spore Drive chamber.
Death Closet, in the Klingon ship.
Death Closet. Okay, then we had Captain Killy. Okay, we're retreading a little bit, but it was a really, everyone loved that name. I'm a Mirror for You Too. We're getting a little bit of Star Trek Nemesis and Stratagema on the Brain. That was with Vaulting Ambitions. I'm trying to remember. They obviously weren't playing, but they must have been moving.
Oh, was that the Saru episode?
Stratagema was Vaulting Ambition. So Vaulting Ambition was looking it up.
I don't know. Something in the mirror, probably.
I'm pretty sure it was the Saru episode. We're on that.
No,
planet.
this is on the ISS. We're still in ISS.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So Vaulting Ambition, Space Risk. As they're putting their pieces into play. Then probably my favorite, Sporpedos.
That's when they went to find more spores.
Yeah. The War Without the Worth, and then at the last season 2, the Search for Spock. Because we knew Spock would be coming in, so I just wanted to reflect it because that's half the fun of this show is coming up with really bad titles, but those were funny. Those are some gems.
Stammet Jim. That's got to be my favorite.
Yeah, that was
I
probably
think
my favorite.
For me, Sporpedos exit out by a hair. I mean, Stammet Jim, I'm a tardigrade, not a navigator, is another mouthful and is very clever, but I don't know, maybe it's that I love that Chekhov scene, but Sporpedos just cracks me up.
I know. I think that is one of my favorite episodes because Daniel's just going, "Why are we sitting on a whole episode getting mushrooms?" And it's hilarious.
Yeah, because that's what we need at the end of our season, a break to
hunt.
gather the fuel to get back home.
Yes.
When your season long arc has an episode like that as your second to last episode,
Penultimate episode, yeah.
Maybe you haven't thought out your season.
And remember, they added an episode, so
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like that was going to be the ending. I mean, I'm sure maybe they stretched it out, but I don't know. Maybe. Okay, I don't know. Well, and that's the other thing is you can't really mix and match. You have your production order and your air order, but you kind of can't do that if you're long.
And so in season 2, they've done it again. So see if you can spot the extra episode in season 2.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Speaking of, the next time that we will all be together will be for season 2. The first episode you said was called Brother.
Yes.
Where
art thou?
Not plural because it's not Cybok.
Turns out it was the Enterprise.
Or lore. We're getting close here. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's true. This is coming dangerously close to another Star Trek episode title.
They just got to go full Latin. That's all I'm going to say. Once you go full Latin.
When does Star Trek fold in on itself and just have an entirely...
So when you're doing the new Star Trek encyclopedia
barrier
in 4 years and you're looking up episodes, it's like Brother. Oh, the one with Data. Oh, no, wait, next one.
Yeah,
Brothers.
Yes.
So.
Look, okay, we could place votes because, season 1, it was until episode 8 that we went Latin. When do we think we're going to go Latin in season 2?
Oh, man.
So if Brothers... Okay, so if Brother... No, we're not going to do this right now. We're too far into this right now. Let's close the show out. We've had plenty to talk about. But, all right, well, yeah, so thanks for joining us, as always. Darren, if people want to get a hold of you on the internet, how would they do that?
They can find me on Twitter, Twitch, or Instagram under Dr. Sci-Fi, DRSCIFI.
And Phillip, if people wanted to talk to you as well, where would they get a hold of you?
Well, brother, they can find me on Twitter at NC Public Servant.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Brother. And if they wanted to get a hold of me, they could find me on all those places under, oh God, One Up Dan. That's the number one, not the word.
Now, if you want to find his mirror counterpoint, you go to at -1 up Dan.
-1 up Dan.
So we already know what we're talking about next week. That'll be Discovery Season 2. So please catch us. We will be watching the episode. It'll be all fresh in our minds, and we will. There might be a little bit of a mix-up in terms of release.
That's true.
Time.
Don't expect it on Friday.
So just so you're aware, we'll let you know next week for
Do
sure.
you know what it's like to be travelers in the fourth dimension?
But just keep an eye out for your favorite podcast app. And we'll be there. We just might be there a few days earlier, a few days late. But yes, so we will give you all our thoughts next week on Season 2 of Discovery. I'm Daniel Prue.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
And I'm negative Darren Moser.
Stranded here on Mirror Ceti Alpha 3.
Ceti Alpha -3.